Hi Neil, Indraneel Hariharan, to say it in the full chord extensions. And welcome
Thank
to the
you.
School of Bass podcast, first of all.
Thank you, Saurav. Thank you for having me here. It's been a long time. We haven't met each other for a long time. And great seeing you like this, actually, and not to an interview.
Do you remember when
Good.
we met first time?
To be very honest, no, because people don't remember bass players. Sorry.
So here's a story for you. I met
All right.
you when I had just started playing bass, and I was that time studying in the Faculty of Music and Fine Arts, and I was studying Hindustani classical music. You won't remember this.
Oh,
I'm 100% sure, but I must tell you this: what happened that day and how I freaked you out.
I'm,
So check this out.
I'm curious. Oh, all right. Okay.
So,
That's interesting.
so when you study in the Faculty of Music and Fine Arts, then you basically are studying your parallel or concurrent subjects in another college. So I was studying those in Ramjas, studying in the Faculty of Music and Fine Arts parallelly.
All right. All right.
So
All right.
you were playing with Mrigya one of those evenings after college. Ramjas had a concert and Mrigya was performing. Uh, they were hosting. Ramjas was hosting the concert, so you played, and I had just started playing bass, man. I was like really mesmerized by the instrument, and I came to you and I said I want to study with you and all. So this is the time when I used to wear kurta pajama, part of a very different culture that time.
Hey, even I was wearing kurta pajama with
No,
Mrigya
you
for
were
gigs.
wearing
It's
kurta
nice.
and
I like to learn.
pants.
Yeah, pajamas sort of. North Campus is a little far to wear it, but just wear pajama. Might just come off on the way. Yeah. Anyways.
So then I was so grateful to you, and I was so amazed by who you are. So, in Indian Hindustani culture, we always, whoever we consider our guru, we would touch their feet as whenever
Huh.
we'll say hello or we'll say bye, we'll touch the feet. And so you told me, okay, I'll
Yeah.
see you later. I said, thank you so much. And I decided to touch your feet. You were sitting on a
Oh my God.
chair in the
Huh.
auditorium. You jumped. You jumped and you put your legs on the chair. You're like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Bro, what are you doing? So that's the
Okay.
story.
That's. I don't remember this, but that's believable. Yes. I mean, I do respect our Indian culture, and Sharat and Gyan, and they're all there, and you have all these students coming and touching the feet. Guru. Yeah. I mean, if I meet, I meet any senior guy like I. Met Viku Vinayak Ramji for a concert
Hmm.
backstage, and the first thing you do, of course, you touch the feet. But somehow somebody doing that to me is I find very it's just
I get
I
it.
don't
I
know.
get it. I mean,
And,
also, it
you know,
was good 10, 15 years ago. 10, 12 years ago, I think. 12 years ago.
yeah, that's worse. Like right now, I've got some gray hair and all. Somebody come and touches your feet and say, "Ah, these are better types," Wow. But then I was much younger. Believable. I don't have a recollection of this, but yeah, it sounds very much like
Did you
it would have
did
happened.
you go to a music school, Neil, or did you do it all by
No,
yourself?
no, I'm completely completely self schooled or self taught or whatever it is. When we started out, there were no music schools specifically for say the bass or Western instruments. There was only Delhi School of Music,
Yeah.
and also the generation I come from. The kind of family I belong to, my father was retired as an officer with the Indian Air Force, and somehow the child taking music up as a full time career was not something which. And also, my extended family, they're all bankers and investment bankers. They still are. I think they're doing pretty well. But it wasn't a very, very obvious choice and not something which would go down very well with a lot of people in the family. And my dad also took him some time.
Hmm.
So music schools, anyways, one day wanted to go to Berkeley. I did submit. They have this kind of send them some stuff and then send it back, and then they said, okay, you can get some kind of
Scholarship.
scholarship and all. So I I don't know, man. But then my dad was like, hey, in spite of the scholarship or whatever, even if you would have, if I would have got that, and it's still very expensive
Hmm. Hmm.
to you know go to the US and stay. And my dad like, अरे इतने प्राइस में तो चलो नोएडा में घर खरीद लूंगा बैठे रहे वहाँ पे. So
किराया भी आएगा.
it's just किराया. I mean, it's just like definitely is a lot more. I mean, retired as an Air Vice Marshal, so he had his own way of saying things.
Yeah.
But yeah, it took him some time, but he was very supportive. I still say my dad's extremely supportive. He
Hmm.
was very. He said, "Oh, this guy's actually playing some meaningful stuff, which is not cacophonous. So
So what
must be
I'm
doing something right."
curious about and want to discuss with you is that there is this tendency of all of us thinking, I also used to think that I need to study and go to a school, only then I'll be able to play music properly. The time you are
Uh,
coming from, you didn't even have YouTube. There was
no.
actually there was nothing. So, can you share how you taught yourself music? Because I think that'll make sense to a lot of other people also, as to because you're a seasoned musician, you work as a professional, you're also a music producer. So, how did you
Yes.
teach yourself?
This is going to be a long one, and it's going to jog a bit of my memory also. So initially, it used to be. I'll tell you, I started off as a. Um, I'll talk about music, because bass playing is obviously what I am. But apart from that, a lot of things. I started off with a band called Clandestine in 1992. That was. I lost a toss and I became a bass player. And you could call up Anirban Chakravarti right now and tell him he's to blame. I'm saying it on camera. It's on record. You made me play the bass.
You want to
He
play
wanted
guitar?
No, I wanted to sing actually,
Oh,
strangely. And they were like, shut up. Okay. I used to play the harmonica. I used to listen to Madonna and Michael Jackson. That was really big at that point. I love pop music and I'm back to producing pop, which I really like. So I didn't want to really be the bass player, A, because I didn't know what the bass was. Because, hey, no YouTube, forget YouTube. There was no cable TV. So YouTube is way back. There's no cable TV. So you were hearing these songs obviously in the drums and the keyboards and the synthesizers. I wanted to also be a keyboard player. I wanted a synthesizer, and there again it was. You had Casio, and I'm like, no, I don't want Casio. I want the one with those knobs and shit. And I mean, I didn't know about Moog
yeah.
and Sinclair, all that stuff. And I'm like, so the Casio is like bad. I mean, not sorry, I shouldn't be saying that, but I wanted this
That's
is a
okay.
public forum.
That's okay.
I mean,
Don't worry.
Casio also got some very but they also have some very cool retro synths though. But yeah, at that particular point of time, I wanted the one with the knobs, the strange sounds. See those one or two of the top of the pops would come in and see these bands like Aha and all have these nice big the Yamaha DX7. That's the stuff I wanted. I wanted to be a pop guy with keyboards and sing. But that didn't happen. I used to play the harmonica. I didn't know what a bass was till I was in college, and somebody's like, "Oh, this is a bass," and I didn't even play the bass properly. Like I said, it's going to be a little long one. I got a guitar with 4 strings of a friend in college because I lost the toss, and they made me play Roadhouse Blues and that da 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 ad nauseum till the end of day and end of time, and so much so that right now, if Roadhouse Blues comes on TV or radio or anywhere, I just turn it off because it's just oh, I love the Doors. I love all the other songs. Roadhouse Blues, man, it just sort of makes me lose my Buddha nature. So yeah, that was one. And we used to learn. I guess now I'll join it with what we later on, and I got more into music, studying music properly in theory. So then we came across this word transcribing.
Ah.
So we were transcribing, man. I mean, nobody said it was transcribing. I mean, I used to listen to a lot of rock and a lot of Led Zeppelin and Iron Maiden to actually the first two big bands, which I really like to listen to. Interesting bass line. You had Steve Harris doing all those crazy things,
Hmm.
and John Paul Jones. His musicality was just, you know, all that stuff. Led Zeppelin to Ramble On, Good Times, Bad Times, all the groove, and there were a lot of other stuff happening. Which, if you study Led Zeppelin, there were a lot of musically they were very advanced for what they were doing at that point of time. A lot of blues happening. There were certain chords which were also used in jazz. I was using Hendrix. You know, it was just Hendrix was crazy actually. Jimi Hendrix also just blew my head. And then you realize that all those chords which Hendrix was playing, a lot of it is used in jazz. And those are like the initial stepping stones into towards getting into okay, what a little more. You've done with rock, but music. Back to the process. How do we learn? You take a tape and you keep on hearing it and try playing it, hearing it and try playing it. So if you've got a song and you've got a gig in 10 days, and everybody's given कि हम लोग ये covers करेंगे, your responsibility to come back with the part. So day night, it doesn't matter. I mean, you don't even know whether it's the sun is out or the moon is out. You're just transcribing the damn tape. It's
Hmm.
listening to songs. And at that point of time, we went through. I mean, our heads chewed the tapes, went out again, and 40 rupees, we bought the same damn tape again and again, started, forward, rewind, hearing it. Not headphones, we had those hi-fi systems, and I
Yeah.
had a
It
Philips,
used to be called a
and it
deck, no? It's called a deck.
tape deck.
Deck.
There you are. Tape deck. Yeah, you're also not as young as you pretend to be. No. So yeah, the tape deck was pretty cool because vinyls we couldn't do all that stuff, but tape, yes, was amazing. And we would just transcribe. So everything was transcription. Um, and as far as music theory was concerned, sometimes you were playing a lot of stuff and you had absolutely no idea what you were playing. If somebody said such simple stuff as a C major, you didn't know it was called a C major. Forget the fact it's an Ionian mode or whatever. C major kya hota hai? You know the chord C major. I'm talking about right now, the kind of world we live in. There is an information overload. Even if you try and type modes, you will get some. I mean, YouTube will just. There you have to really hunt for somebody who would tell you what a mode was. Or there is some musician who's traveling from Chennai who's come, or somebody from Assam is a damn good guitar player. We would actually go and see that guy in some hostel of or some canteen and sit down and hear him play the guitar, and he would probably explain what it is all about. I remember we would actually go and meet people. That's how difficult information was to come across. Because we're hungry, we wanted to learn. It's not that, we were jackasses or we just were lazy. We wanted to learn, but there was no information. You will sit down and you listen to stuff, of course, but nobody will tell you that, look, the obvious relationship between a minor and a major, or the 6 degree or whatever, flattened third. वो सब कोई नहीं बताने वाला था. You had to figure it out yourself. And those lessons, I feel, they were learned so well because they were learned after making so many mistakes. And the way we learned it, the kind of songs, the way there are times when we get on stage and we play a song, and maybe I'm just playing the bass line all wrong from the original, but it's sounding tight. The band's locked on and it's sounding good, and everybody, yeah, 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 it's a damn good version you played of, say, whatever,
Hmm.
some Led Zeppelin song, and all. पता चला कि सब गलत बजा रहा है. 10 years later, they're like, hey, I was doing something else. But hey, it worked. And at the same time, it also in a way gave us a lot of, what do you say, elbow room to explore our own creativity and add some stuff. And, maybe you're playing something wrong, it becomes a part of your style. A lot of things like
Do you
that. So
think this transcription and performing this song with a band or by yourself, whatever it is it a much faster way according to you to progress and grow in music?
see, I think learning music is it's a very, very internal and a very personal matter. When what might work for you might not work for me, what might work for somebody else might not work for XYZ. So I believe it is what works for you. Like, I don't teach much, but whoever the students have come, I've always told them, look, these are the ways you can approach. I'll give you the ways you can approach. You choose your approach. You're gonna reach the same destination. You gotta play well. You gotta know what you're playing. You can express what you do. Those things are fine, but how you reach that is your own path. So whatever is the best and the most efficient, and whatever makes rocks your boat, and it's very important to have fun with it.
Hmm.
Just because, say, a guy like me or a senior musician, or you sing any transcription, say karo to acha lagega, lage rahoge to ki tarah, stay there and just go on, and you're not enjoying the process of learning and playing your instrument. That is something which you should avoid. If you think that transcription, you get a lot of fun, you get a lot of kick out of transcribing and playing it, and then, hey, it's cool, it's a sense of achievement, you're having fun. It's very important to have fun, because music is all about that. It's about having fun. Otherwise, be a banker. No, sorry, let's just not the bankers. My family is full of bankers. Banking is also fun, makes you a lot of money. But uh, the bottom line being, you need to have fun. Everything aside, so what works for me might not work for you. So it's both. Both is fine, and sometimes a combination of both. Sometimes you transcribe, sometimes you press search on YouTube and you get it and you play it. It's to each his own.
That's interesting. So before getting into a family life of your own, like taking all these responsibilities as a musician. Did you
uh,
prepare yourself? Did you clear your head in some regard that I will need ample amount of money? And if you did, how did you get your head around the whole thing that I am going to start the next phase of my life?
Damn, my mind is a blank before I got married. I don't even remember who I was. It was like one. What? I remember being married for all my life. No, I never started out with a plan. In fact, that's my problem. I don't plan anything. I'm a guy who was very impulsive. I used to be very impulsive. I still am to a certain extent. Um, I for sure knew what I didn't want to do. I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I didn't want to end up. I was a postgrad in sales and marketing management, what you call it, MBA almost. I joined a very big company. I was there for about 2 months. Third month, I was like, I can't do this. I had, I got a little bit of hair now, trying to grow back. I had hair this long. I had chopped my hair to get into the interview, and I got the job, and I felt miserable. I'm like, no, and I used to like wearing my jeans, and then I started to wear a shirt and a tie and carry a freaking briefcase to office and report at 9 o'clock, and then come back and practice. That was also there. That was mad. Um, yeah, I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to be confined to a box. I wanted to be a little free. I think as an artist, everybody wants to be free. That's why you want to be an artist. You want to express freely. You want to do what you want. So yeah, I didn't want to have a job. I didn't want to. I never said I want to make a lot of money because money was never important to me then. It is not important to me now. Also, in terms of I don't run after money. It's I run after providing for the family. I run after security or whatever that is. And for that, if I need the money, I'll do it. But just for the sake of money, it was not. Yeah, and I married also impulsively. So that I just met the girl. I met her on a train, and I'm like, "Yo, I want to marry you." And there you go. That's it. Two boys. So everything has been very impulsive for me. I have not said a शादी करना है उससे पहले इतना बैंक बैलेंस चाहिए, गाड़ी चाहिए, घर चाहिए, फिर जाएंगे ये करेंगे. Though that works well because later on when you get married, अब शादी तो कर ली, but I mean then the kind of घर गृहस्थी का the household chores and then everything like it takes time. But then yeah, I'll quote because of the bass player community. There's a phenomenal bass player who I used to look up to. I still do, Abraham Laboriel.
Hmm.
A lot of I was hugely influenced by his slap style and one more trivia. A lot of people do a double thumb technique, which I still can't because I got a very straight thumb. But I do a lot of these triplets and quadruplets. I played on my MacBook, So this is what Abraham Laboriel would do. We do that PIMA,
Yeah.
He would do you like thumb 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 that. He would. Can you hear
Yeah.
this? So this technique came from Abraham Laboriel. So while I was trying to figure out his technique, one thing in his interview came up. They asked him the same question. You got wife and kids and all that. How do you manage practicing and you playing at such a high level and all that? He said, when you have a family and you have children, um, the energy in your playing changes. It's in fact it begs you don't need so much practice after that. A lot of energy is coming from his family, and something to that effect. He's saying that when you're playing, your family is actually contributing or making you a better person or a better player, and because it'll reflect in your playing also. There's something like that which I'm not 100% sure about the exact words, but Abraham Laboriel was at that particular point of time who said that music it'll stay, it'll continue. You're a musician, but these are also important things. uh, हम लोग सन्यासी नहीं है. We are not uh, the literal we are not ascetics, and we definitely are no saints. So family is good. It's great as long as you have the mental capacity to deal with it. I mean, I always wanted to have family. I always wanted children. So for me, that was it was not like a rock and roll lifestyle for me. I got into rock and roll because of the music. It was never because of the lifestyle. So for me, I wanted to be a family guy. I wanted to. I mean, it's amazing having children. Getting married has its amazing parts as well. I mean, everything is tough. Relationships between two people are tough. See so many bands, you'll know. But yeah, it's I would suggest that all these things should be taken with a very positive frame of mind.
Hmm.
To go with a very positive outlook. There are problems, relationships fall apart, a lot of things happen, but then that's life, right? I mean, you don't get that quick arpeggio at the first shot. Sit and work at it, and then it comes out beautifully. Slowly and slowly work at it to get your fingers down. That's exactly what relationships, marriage, everything. You can't just expect miracles. You got to. It's a lot of hard work.
It's true.
Uh, it's not just music; it's life. You got to work. Some people don't. Very few, select few, just got everything handed on a platter. But then even they have to work. I mean, relationships, human to human interactions, they require some bit of
It's a
commitment, and
skill in itself.
it's a skill you bloody well learn. Otherwise, you're gonna
Yeah,
get
you
kicked.
got to practice it. So
Yeah, it's,
I'm curious about one more thing, which is that there are so many people for whom, and I didn't believe in this earlier until I started the podcast and started talking to people. And a lot of people I ask, and they talk to me about how life kind of fell into place and everything happened one after the other when it came to work, especially as a freelancer. They are grateful for it, and I am on the other side. I go for things, I hustle, and I try to make things happen for myself. It's just a different kind of luck book I carry for myself, which is take a step and make things happen for yourself. For you, how was it when you decided to, let's say, move to Bombay? Did you already have work here when you were coming from Delhi to Bombay, or did you decide to
oh,
come
that
here and hustle and then figure your life out again from scratch?
I still don't have work. Not the amount of work I started. That's actually my thing was. Look, your approach is correct. You need to work, but you need to keep a. It's for us. It's very difficult. When the phone doesn't ring and there are no projects happening, it can get to you. See, I know for a fact that there will be work. Okay, and I've been doing so much work for all these years, so that कि हाँ ठीक है, ये तो हो जाता है. But still, and that is something as a freelancer I would like to share with a lot of people. It's not about, so don't let that period get you down, and don't negative spin saying कि अरे काम नहीं मिल रहा, I'm not getting gigs, or I'm not. That is the time where you sharpen the sword. The more you sharpen the sword, so when the next battle comes, you're just gonna cut through it. Instead of becoming depressed and instead of saying, "Oh, nobody loves me," and don't practice, the motivation goes. So a lot of uh, us musicians, freelancers as such, it's a tough job. Mentally, it takes a lot of toll on you because A, you put in so much of your heart and soul on something which is not even tangible. A. And then people judge you. B, that is one more story. And C, there are long spells of time, and one season you're like, hey, I don't even have time to wear my shoes. And the other season is like, oops, see what's happening. Nothing on the phone, nothing on subscribe. Hota hai. It's a part, but we chose that, right? Like you join the army and you don't, and you say, ki, hey, I'll join the army, but I'll become a general, but I'm not going to fight any war. नहीं होता.
I just want the
It
discounted
is the
whiskey.
हाँ सिर्फ CSD कैंटीन चाहिए अपना विस्की चाहिए बस बस कुछ नहीं ना bro. You got to get into there, do your training, do your thing, and there's gonna be you're gonna get that lamba gadi and everybody's gonna salute you, but you also have leeches crawling up your ass in some crazy place and
Hmm.
burning your frostbite and stuff. You might get killed in the process, but then hey, you knew you were going into this. And for people who think that they don't see the glamorous part of our business is something which I believe. This is my personal opinion, so just take it that way. I'm just sharing my experience. And I know a lot of young people are also listening to this. They get very disappointed because of the glamour associated with music. Everybody thinks you're a musician means when you walk into the room, there are gonna be lights happening, and you can walk in, and you're like, yeah, Everybody thinks of themselves as ki main to, we're in. That's not the case. Nobody looks at, of course, when you go and you do brush up on your theory, you go to practice, you got so many things, skills, people skills. In spite of all of that, it's a constant process. There will be times when people will just, I'm saying people because as much as people say the dichotomy, it's a very personal, art is a very personal thing, but at the same time it's a very public thing, because still you don't share your art with the public, it doesn't matter. So that therein lies the dichotomy. It's extremely personal, extremely internal a process, yet it becomes a very public process. Once you put it out, then everybody will say, oh ये गलत था, ये सही था, somebody will like it. So I would say don't get very excited when people say, oh क्या बजाया भाई, ये हो गया, ठीक है. And I also would say कि don't get extremely depressed when people don't, uh, you need to be balanced. Easier said than done. It takes a lot of hard work. But the fact that what I'm putting out there is that you need to be aware of the fact that this is not a very easy vocation,
Mm.
a profession, or a field. It requires immense amount of mental strength. Just being talented or just being extremely good at what you do is not enough. There are a lot of other things. And it also pays being a nice person, because what happens when you get too depressed and you get into a negative space, you change as a person internally. I believe in energies, and if you live within dark energies, that is the kind of energy you're gonna give off to other people. Long story short, if you're not a nice person, you won't get work.
Mm.
It doesn't matter how good you are. So it's a constant process, and it's a combination of everything. You have to stay positive. You have to put in the work, not get depressed. And when you come back stronger than you have ever come back before. That is very important.
So when you say sharpening the sword, let's say you don't have work for the time being, what are you working on as an individual? Are you practicing more production skills? Are you doing courses? What do you do for yourself?
Okay, so yeah, like I just finished a project right now, so so I'm waiting for the next one. So in the middle of this, what I do is I try and create, because my motivation to sit down and practice, just say pick up the bass and play. I'm in a different space where I believe I need to create more music, not just bass or guitar or anything. I have like we were talking. So there's something called La Groove, which I've sort of come out with.
Yes.
So yeah, I have basically whatever little time I have. When you're working with jingles and you're working with commercial, you're a craftsman. You are delivering what your client wants, right? Now, for me, what I've done is slowly and slowly I started feeling that even when I'm creating music, I've become so, again, coming back to the dichotomy, sorry, I've become so bothered about what I think it would sound to somebody else. So I decided, look, let's have a balance. I'm doing this work for money and this for my clients. Now I want to create pure art, in terms of pure expression. So La Groove happened because of that. I come and sit on my keyboards and my guitar or whatever. I just come up with something and I finish it. I don't think about it. So basically, I try and capture that music at that particular moment, whatever I have learned or whatever is going on in my head or whatever I'm feeling. I just that is La Groove for me. So if you see a particular song like that, something called Rainscape, it happened during monsoon and on a drive, and I just come back with an emotion and I just put it out there.
Some
It
lovely
might have the
dance
bass.
music. I just heard it actually a couple of hours ago, man. It's just
Oh, all
brilliant.
right, okay. So there's some stuff, like I always like the whole funky slap Motown stuff. So I put
It's
something out
too
there.
hip.
Thank you. Coming from a fellow musician, it feels extremely nice. And thank you so much. And it's a labor of love. So there, I don't. It doesn't matter whether I'm getting paid money or not, or whether it is getting a lot of views or likes or not. But two people like you, three people, good musicians, friends, they hear it and they feel happy. I'm able to move somebody with that music. My job is done. That is what Lagu for me is. Because when we started Mrigya, it was like that. We just wanted to play music. We were in different. I was in on street, Parikrama. Also, all these bands had become uh, very big at that particular point of time, and there were expectations. There was a lot of stuff I wanted to do which I couldn't do in Orange Street. But when I came to Mrigya, I could just openly express. Sharat could come and do whatever he wanted. Everybody, Sonam came, did what he wanted to do. Everybody was doing stuff. The fact that Mrigya became Mrigya was just it was good providence, I would say. Of course, a lot of hard work. We worked hard, and but we didn't say let's form Rig and make one more band and make money. No, we like let's do this music. Let's just do this. Let's just come together. The energies were good. So I believe when you have good energies, good intention, when you put in your own heart, put in your own positive emotions to anything. I'm not just talking about music, to any endeavor. It will connect somewhere sooner or later. That's a belief system I have grown up with. It gets tested, yes, but I've been around for a long time. It works. If you put in your heart and soul and you put in your own, you're honest to yourself and you like it and you're really, really confident, there will be people who would be drawn to that particular creation, because there is that soul in it. It's
Hmm.
important to have soul. That's why when you hear musicians who playing a lot of chops and suddenly you just, it's nice, it's impressive, you're like, wow, but you will not listen to that again. Maybe
Hmm.
there are some musicians who maybe do not play as many jobs, and there are some musicians who play a lot of jobs and they have solos as well.
Yeah,
So
Rhythm Shaw, you've heard,
it's,
he's one of those people. Rhythm Shaw, when he
yeah,
plays
it's
guitar,
great.
I mean,
It's
I
amazing.
can just
Yeah,
hear him day in, day out. It just touches your heart.
correct.
It's super fast, but there's something
There you
really
go.
special about it.
That's something really special, is not his speed or not his muscular ability or histrionics. It's the heart and soul. I'm sure, I don't know the man personally, but I'm sure he puts in a lot of his heart into his playing, and that shows. It's important to have the heart,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, I think this
So
interim period, no, is so critical because you gotta stand up in, not stand up is not the right word, but you gotta be proud of yourself in some way or the other. Yes, you work for the industry and you might be doing some Bollywood sessions, so on and so forth. But this time when it comes, when you manifest your own music, when you create something that you wanted to create, you get you
yes,
get paid in a very different manner. You find your contentment, and if you don't balance it, then life just starts entering this crisis. You kind
I
of
will tell you
find your
something.
purpose.
I've been trying to make it into Bollywood, and I ended up doing a couple of films and stuff like that. Okay, so I'm not a big Bollywood composer or whatever. There were times when I had that ambition, but remember something. Oh, and I'll give this. It's a personal thing, but my advice would be that, see, the industry or the business does not define you. All right, that does not define your art. If you think that just because some piece of music you've made or somebody else XYZ has made has got like a million views and people are talking about it because it's just something, that is not the benchmark. All right, music. Now I'm getting specific. No, music is not defined by the number of views and stuff like that. Yes, it is very important because, of course, if something is good and nice to be seen, and but the kind of environment and the kind of animal this music industry has become, again, the dichotomy music and industry. If you start reacting to how the industry is defining success, you will get hurt, you will be disappointed, and you will feel extremely miserable about your own self when that is not true. Because I can say, I know, we can all say there are a lot of artists. God bless them, they've made it up, they've made it big, and they're very big. But then there are a lot more people who are a billion times more talented. I'll use the word a billion times more talented, who have not made it. So please do not say that, oh, I'm not talented enough or I'm not good enough. And a lot of it depends on luck. After all these years, I do believe that luck is important. Okay, a lot of it depends on luck. Or a lot of it depends on just sometimes just sheer hard work which people put in. A lot of people are very persistent. A lot of people are willing to go to depths and lengths which maybe you might not want to go to. कि नहीं भैया मैं इससे ज़्यादा मैं नहीं करूँगा. A lot of people. I mean, there are many reasons why people become successful. Good reasons, bad reasons. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, if you want to be successful, that's your goal. Then you are willing to do everything. So there are so many parameters. All I'm trying to say is, don't judge yourself by those parameters. That is not important. You need to feel good about your own self. You're important. You're an artist. You need to go on creating. The fact that if you wanted success, or if you wanted monetary success, let's say materialistic success, please go ahead, you know, go give an exam, do an MBA, get a job, you get enough money, and then you can't crib your, "Hey, I didn't do music." Then you shut up. Just shut up. So, you know, um, like I said, it is. This is a very. It's a very testing kind of. It was already tough before, but now with streaming services, with YouTube, there's so much clutter. Sometimes it is important to be realistic about your aspirations. It's important to get work. It's important to build a career. There are many ways of building career. You have a regular stream of income. Learn to save. Please take gigs. Please, it doesn't matter. Shadi gig ho, ye ho. There's nothing called infra. If you're working, you're playing music, you're making money. Utilize that correctly. At the same time, don't sell your soul. At the same time, be creative. Don't lose who you and I or whatever. Your individuality needs to be. So Lagru for me was maintaining my sanity and my individuality. It was not for money. Money I was getting anyways. But so everybody has to. I would say we have to try and maintain that balance. Getting the perfect balance is impossible.
Hmm.
Being God, but at least try and maintain some kind of, because, and especially because of COVID, I heard a lot of sad stories about musicians. A lot of things. I mean, I don't want to talk about it, but let's talk about it in the sense that it has been tough.
Hmm.
Gigs have dried up. I, on the other hand, have been sort of lucky because me being a producer, I'm an engineer, I could do a lot of projects sitting from home. But I was just suddenly realizing, what if I was only a session musician who would have to get out and do gigs, and you know, then what?
Hmm.
For almost 10 months, and still the gigs are just sort of started, and they're too very few. You have no income, and that's a long time. If you're living in a big city, you know how the overheads are. And if you have a family, you've got kids. It's been a rough ride. So I would say hats off to people who have maintained the sanity and who've sort of maintained whatever they are. You're all warriors out there. There is always light at the end of the tunnel. I mean, it scared me too. I'm not somebody who's just being patronizing and saying, "Hey, हाँ ठीक है बच्चा लोग तुम लोग सब ठीक हो." नहीं ना, I faced those kind of demons. It's difficult. I was, like I said, lucky. I had. That's what I'm saying. Updating your skill is very important. If I had just been a bass player, doing sessions or gigs, maybe it would have been a lot more difficult for me to have gotten through this lockdown stage.
Hmm.
But because I was a producer, I could play other instruments, I could sing, I could do a lot of stuff. I got lucky. So that's where sharpening the sword comes in. No,
Yeah.
um, try and expand your universe. It's okay if you're a bass player and you want to play the guitar. It's all right. Not everybody's Saurabh Suman who can play better than a guitar player up here. With so many friends. I've seen that guitar. It's like, oh,
That's because I don't know
so
how to
many
play
friends.
guitar. That's the problem.
Rubbish. You're a bass player, can play anything. I'll say I have that thing. I think bass players are gifted with this. We are like
Yeah, you
survivors,
listen,
and
you
we
can
are,
hear
we
some
are
extra
musical.
stuff, I think, as a bass player.
We are musical survivors. We are not just the drummer who doesn't give a shit of what harmonic structure of the song is. He's just maintaining the groove, even though he's making complicated playing or whatever it is. But the harmonic structure he's not bothered with. Whereas we have to figure out what crazy stuff the drummer is doing, at the same time figure out what the lead instrument is doing, what the bloody chords are doing, and we have to play all of them together on our
Hmm.
instrument.
It becomes a habit,
And
though.
yet not step on them so that you get the next gig. So um, I do believe that we have that unique perspective, this baseless perspective of how music is played. I feel it's nice. It's a very interesting way. So that's what I'm saying. I'm sure bass players have the scope of doing a lot of stuff,
Yes,
a lot
yes.
more.
Upskilling is very
Yeah.
critical. I mean, I just got into this habit of doing courses on Udemy, like learning new stuff.
Yes,
So,
yes, yes. I've heard of Udemy too.
and like I
Yes.
learned so much on there. I learned animation, I learned After Effects, Premiere Pro, and I could just build a school out of studying courses for like 400, 500 rupees.
The La Groove, the last music video I edited, I learned DaVinci
It's
Resolve,
amazing.
like, dude. Yeah, and I shot myself. I mean, my son shot, but I directed the video myself and I edited it myself. And I'm like, whoa, it was a. I of course I created the music, played all the instruments, sang, mix, master. That is okay, good. I've done that before. But when you direct your own music video also, and then you're engineering everything, it gives a very. It's an amazing feeling, and I'm like, yeah, it's super cool. Not that I become Spielberg, but yeah, it's a great process. Uh, and somebody dropped something out there.
No, not the bass.
No, thankfully not. That's safely tucked up in another room.
I'm
But
I'm
yes.
editing Vasundhara's music video now. It's going to come out. She's
Oh,
written a new song with
awesome.
Dhruv Ganekar,
Awesome.
so
Oh,
quite
nice.
excited about getting that done.
Amazing. Dhruv and Vasundhara are
Yeah, man, it's
two.
just such a sick song. When it comes out, I share it with you.
Oh, I'm
It's
sure. I'd
incredible.
love to listen to that.
So
I mean, Vasu's always been
yeah, man.
somebody I've seen from a very early age. See that.
She's also mentioned, about her book, Big Dreams, Bold Choices.
Yes, I've seen the book on Facebook, and this is I haven't read it.
Yeah, so she's put
But
it all together, like because people keep wondering how does the music industry work? How does one start their career? And if they start their career, how do they, remain authentic? And then there are interviews of people like Dhruv, Nikhil D'Souza, like all top league people who've been in the industry for a long time. And there's a mention.
that's a lot of good karma for her.
So she's put
That's
it all together. Anybody who's confused about the industry and what kind of jobs are available in, she's made tables and everything for that. And it's got a
awesome.
story. I don't know if she. I shouldn't say that story right now because I don't remember if the name of those people are mentioned in there or if she has just written it with some replaced names. I'll keep this off record, so I'll skip this story for now. But anybody who's looking for understanding and wants to go deeper into the music industry, Big Dreams, Bold Choices is the place.
You can't do this. Not fair. You got me all curious, and I'm like,
I
hey,
have to
I'm
tell
just
this to you
adjusting my headphones.
off the podcast. I'm sorry. I just don't know how the story was told properly. I don't want to
Okay.
paraphrase and I don't want to put this on the recording. Anyway,
Are you considering politics as the next
no, no,
career
this is
upscaling?
honesty. This is honesty.
It's good.
This is not politics.
Good, good. I admire that.
So, I'm curious, like there are so many hardships that we just discussed. There are ups and downs, there is psychological warfare for an artist, for a musician. You have a child who's
Correct.
16 years old who plays tabla, and I saw a video of him playing.
No, no, no. I have two children. So one is 16 and
One
one
is
is 10.
10.
He's gonna be, in fact, he'll be 11 tomorrow. That's his birthday. So
Wow.
he's the tabla player, the younger fellow.
So, do you see them as professionals? Would you be all right uh, to see them go through? Of course, there is challenges, but there's also contentment in being an artist. What's your take on this whole thing that when your child enters the
Oh,
industry?
this is an interesting question. The fact is, not only will I have already made preparations for them to get into the industry in the sense that there are certain mistakes I made. I wouldn't say mistakes, but there's certain things which I could have done better. Now, because I have done that, the second generation at least will not have to face that. I moved to Bombay when I was 43 years old. I was told that, hey, move to Mumbai. When I was in my 20 to 23, people have told me a lot of big artists and big names now. They said, Neil, तेरे को Bombay आना पड़ेगा. I didn't come. मैंने कहा, नहीं जाऊंगा मैं. I did it. I'm still carrying on with my band. Everything is there. In fact, it turned out well. I came very late. But for these kids, they're already there. And now they're, thankfully, God's been kind. I've let them blossom. If you want, if I show you around, there are like tablas and pakhawajas. This is my son's music room, actually. I don't have a music room. It is. I can sit anywhere with my laptop, headphones, and sometimes sit here and I create my stuff. So I've given them that space. My elder one has his room. He's into cubing and he's into making, and all by La Groove's designs are by the elder one. He, in fact, directed two videos also of that. So I'm giving them ample space so much so that my wife has been extremely supportive. In fact, strangely, she's the one who's been pushing them, saying that, look, हमने क्या किया? We did school, we did graduation, we learned biology and physics and chemistry, and what are we doing with it? Nothing. I mean, it's good to go to school and college, but learn the right stuff, something which is useful now. So now the younger one, Krishang, he is learning tabla, he learns pakhavach, he's learning sitar, he's learning Indian rags. In fact, I think his music vocabulary is massively huge in Indian classical, way beyond mine. But the fact is, I'm saying, all right, if need be. And one thing, the pandemic has proved that going to school is not everything, man. In fact, they wake up in the morning, we go through the whole madness of trying to get the kids up. It's not naturally their time to wake up, and they come back so tired that they can't practice, and they've got homework. My eldest son, he's finished his class 10. Now he's going into open school because, anyways, all of 11th is gone. He's going to give class 12 straight away.
Hmm.
He wants to get into design. So I said, okay, you just finish. And my wife said, okay, nothing doing, no more school. Yeah, faltu mein, even we are going to spend so much money on education, which is not really education. It's
Yeah,
just
it's not
academic.
relevant. It's
It's
not
not
relevant.
relevant. We're going to do physics, chemistry, maths, commerce. Oh, he wants to do design. I said, he finish it 12th. And I always, anyways, a reduced syllabus. And I'm not sending them to school till things are normal. As much as people would say it's not normal as yet. I mean, one infection is all that matters. So, anyways, that's besides the point. But he'll go straight and he'll probably give entrance exams into NID or whatever, and he wants to get filmmaking. Thankfully, now I'm in Bombay. Like I said, how it helps. My friends are in the industry. You can always shadow them. There is friends of mine are they're directors and producers. You can just go on to shoots and see them. I wish I had that. I saw aircraft and tanks and stuff like that. With my dad in the Air Force. But yeah, the same thing. He will be exposed to, and he already knows. He works on logic, and they're working on stuff. Um, so that for me is the education. That is relevant education. I think when they come in, they will be a lot more prepared. So for them, a career is important. I'm not going to be stars. The younger one is seriously skillful and serious. Not because he's my son. For me, it's still taken time to sink in. That a really cute little ball. He sits on the tabla and then he's a completely different person, and I have to respect him as an artist.
Hmm.
Even though I'm his father and I'm a lot more elder to him, but the kind of stuff he does, I have to sit back and give him that respect as a performer, and his skill levels are so high. So who am I to come and try and interfere with that? What nature is meant to be. So I'll only make it easier for him. Because as parents, we need to just sometimes. It is very important to. It's like funk, you don't play in those. You don't have to play a note there. Just get out of the way and let it breathe. Let them do what they have to do. Just guide them to be good human beings.
Hmm.
Give them the resources which will help them. So yeah, I'm all for it, man. I think they should go. If my son was very good at mathematics and he really was good at engineering, मैं बोलूँगा, हाँ IIT की पढ़ाई कर. Why not? I won't say no. You're my son. You have to play the bass. No. So I think that's a huge amount of difference between our previous generation of parents and us. I would suggest that give the children what they figure out, because children are everybody, all of us, when we are young, we all have certain skill sets, which sometimes gets completely crushed by the system.
Hmm.
I feel. I wish I had learned how to play music when I was a kid, and I wish I had somebody who taught me how to sight read when I was learning photosynthesis. It's important to know what photosynthesis is, but it was instead of climbing up Krebs cycle, I just learned how to sight read Chopin or Mozart. I would have been really good, and it's possible. It is possible. It's not that difficult when you start at an early age. It's possible, and children are like sponges,
Much
all of
easier.
them.
Definitely much easier.
They just pick up. So that is what I'm saying. It is possible to do it. If you do it earlier, it becomes easier,
That's true.
much easier.
So, La Groove, how many songs have come out? Is that the name of the song or your project is
No,
called?
that is an alter ego. It was just a very I don't know why I even called it love groove. Yeah, the groove basically. Yeah. So I always been a groove guy. So it was actually during the lockdown. A few drinks down and stuff. You start imagining things. so so this was like an alter ego of mine. So love groove is basically a bunch of DJs somewhere in maybe Ibiza, I don't know, maybe Norway, I don't know. I just created these two characters in my head. I didn't want to put my face on that. I didn't want to have Indraneel Hariharan anything to do with it. And you see the first few songs, it's just La Groove and music by La Groove, and there's just some pictures. I didn't want people to prejudge the music, because once Neil is coming out with the track and then they will have. I just want to put stuff out there, just the music, you know. not who's behind it or who he is, or and I want to go down and see what happens. So for me, it was like these uh, two DJs or two music producers slash DJ, multi instrumentalist, second generation, maybe Algerian, Moroccan guys who shifted to Germany. If they were to come out with music, it was just
That role play.
mad trip when it happened. And actually also a lot of people, if they are Algerian or Moroccan, they speak a lot of French, and they usually migrate to Paris, and they have a name. It could be, I don't know, it's just name one of those Algerian names, and they're really cool. Hey, actually, um, there is a huge inspiration also. Until now, I'm just trying to connect two and two. So there's this amazing producer of Madonna. It's a guy called Mirwais. I don't know if you've heard of him. It's an electronic producer, brilliant producer. He had come out. I think William Orbit was Ray of Light. Mirwais came out with that song featuring Ali G. Hey,
I
Mr.
oh yeah,
DJ,
that one.
and it's an amazing production. So I tried to figure out, okay, it's Madonna, fine, but who was the guy who made that? So it turned out to be a person called Mirwais, and I think he is one of these kind of immigrant second generation to Europe from. I think so. I could be wrong, but I saw this La Groove actually came from that kind of thing because I love those that whole electronic kind of a thing. Why? But at the same time, I could end up playing bass, run it through a diode distortion and make it sound like a synth bass, do shit. Yeah, and there is synth bass happening, there's live bass happening. Sometimes both are happening together. Sometimes the synth bass moves into live bass, and I'm trying to. I don't want to put everything in. I don't say no just because I have a bass in my hand. Everything has to be live bass. No, man. It's just no rules. That's what La Groove was. It was basically just a no rules, no hold bar trip, which I would just capture and then just create something out of it. And I didn't want to give it out to other people to mix it also,
Amazing.
because the engineer also comes with all due respect. That's a perspective. So in fact, sometimes when you're doing commercial work and you have an engineer's perspective, it helps because then they come in with a lot of stuff. And at least my engineering skills are limited, but I know what sounds right. So I will not make mistakes like the bass is distorting or the highs are, so those that's fine. So the perspective, I wanted to keep the perspective very pure,
Huh.
like from beginning to end. I won't say narcissistic, but it was a very self-indulgent thing. I wanted it all to be me. So
Even the video
uh,
dancing and everything. It's pretty cool.
yeah, that on the other hand is very weird. My son said, "Dad,
I
let's use
remember.
do some real." Yeah, so I used to like the song, getting jiggy with it with Will Smith, dum 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 dum, and the bass player. I don't know who the bass player was. It's a sample. So I used to love getting jiggy with it. So I tried doing that. Saying
So we're
that.
gonna put the
Oh,
links in this video's description so that people who are curious and would like to hear this, I think, and they're gonna
oh, please,
get hold of that music and listen to
thank
it. Neil, this has been
thank you so much.
fantastic, and it's very good to see you, first of all. And I hope to see you in person
Yes,
at some point. And
likewise, been amazing for me too.
thank you so much for doing this. I really look up to you, and I've always looked up to you. And thank you for
It's
being so nice, so amazing, and so positive altogether, and making such an amazing
likewise,
culture around music. Thank you
likewise.
so
Thank you
much.
so much.
I'm just stopping the
Thanks so
recording,
much.
huh? The call is on. Bye bye, everybody. Thank you for watching the podcast. See you next week.